And next, Dr. Satya Prakash Tiwary means, as I already mentioned, he practices in Bihar, so he deals with a lot of financially compromised patients, so that's where it makes a lot of difference. So once he finishes, then probably we will have some time to interact.
Thank you so much, sir, for including me in this instruction course. It is really nice to be here among you all. And I was listening to the talk of Mangat Dogra, sir, that biosimilar have really now they have traveled such a long journey, and our own confidence have built up so much that we are now no longer hesitant in using in any of the indications. And in this ROP also recently phase 4 trial of Rajumab was done, and our center was also a part, and we recruited 9 patients. And before that also we are using these biosimilars, and touchwood, fortunately we are not facing any safety issue in any of the cases. So biologics, what is biologics and biosimilar and definition, it has already been discussed by Dr. Nilesh, so I'm not going into the details. So what biologics imparts on the finances of any country, be it developed world, European countries or America or Indian countries or a relatively developed part of our own country and relatively underdeveloped or undeveloped part of the country. Since all these biologics which are being used in ophthalmic disorders, since we have a huge population load and the diseases are becoming more and more common, like diabetic retinopathy, age-related macular degeneration, and for that matter even ROP is also picking up very fast due to all these artificially assisted delivery techniques. We are getting more and more preterm babies. So again, see, these preterm babies, they spend a lot on that reproductive technique. That baby is born preterm and that goes into an ICU and then spend lakhs of rupees to save that baby, and after that baby develops this ROP. And if again the cost of ROP treatment is very high, then we are going to lose many babies visually. So that is very important part, that whatever here we are dealing with such a kind of population, diverse population, that we need a large number of biological molecules which can support our patients, and cost is one of the biggest factor to cater all our population. Biosimilars are cost effective, definitely. In majority of the cases the cost has come down to 25 to 50%, and recently even there is much more cost drop in biosimilars due to market competition, and that is actually very good for all our patients and as a clinician, because if we offer similar efficacy molecule at a lower cost, then our patient is going to afford that treatment, and they will be more likely to accept the treatment, and the success of the treatment and visual rehabilitation will be much better if the cost drops down. Even in USA also, all the top selling drugs are now biologics, be it in ophthalmology or otherwise in rheumatology or other diseases. Biologics, even in oncology, biologics are coming up with a huge role. And in other than ophthalmology, majority of the imported molecules which were available in India for the treatment of rheumatology and all, in many of the molecule only biosimilar is available in India, and no longer the original innovator is being available or marketed. So why do we need biosimilars or at lower cost? Because our population, majority of the people are not going to afford a high cost treatment. We can take a lesson from this PDT, Visudyne dye also, because PDT, although in CNVM, this classic CNVM or AMD was not as effective as anti-VEGF, but recalcitrant cases of IPCV or in CSR, it was quite a good drug, but the cost was very high. It was not being marketed. It became an orphan drug, and then slowly it was out of the market, and now we are not getting that drug also for some of the indications like this CSR which are not responding or not resolving, and we are facing difficulties. Suppose some of other company would have manufactured or marketed some generic or biosimilar or whatever, then this drug could also have survived and would have given us a lot of treatment opportunity to uncatered patient. So at the treatment cost, many a times in India, what our patients, majority of them are paying from their own pockets. Now the government is also supporting them by doing this low cost insurance like Ayushman Bharat, or different state governments are supporting. But the treatment cost limit is lower in those cases. So if the drug is very high cost and if the patient needs repeated injection, then they will exhaust their limit of treatment. So bringing down the cost of the drug, then these drugs can easily be incorporated in those low socio-economic insurance schemes of government also, and those patients can also be supported and they can be benefited by giving treatment through these low cost biosimilars. So selection of anti-VEGF process, I won't go into that, but all these, as sir was saying, that global coalition and regulators also have voiced their confidence in safety and efficacy of biosimilars. And one thing I would like to share my experience that yes, nowadays that longer trials are also coming up. In lupins, this global trial, we were the part, and the treatment recruitment, that patient recruitment part went for over a year, and every patient received 12 injections for more than 1 year. This trial, I think last patient we just concluded recently. So this was a huge data from a single center point of view also, since we followed all of our patients and we injected them 12 injections and there was no reactions or untoward event happened in any of the patients. So that also imparted confidence to our thing also. So as Nilesh was pointing out, that if biosimilars come and treatment cost goes down, then development of new drug hampers. But in other ways, sometimes it stimulates also, because Lucentis was being marketed by Novartis, then came Rajumab, and when the Novartis found that this market is going to become competitive, then they focused on development of new drugs. So that competition from innovator and biosimilar actually encouraged them to go for a new research and launch some new or more effective drug. So that will definitely going to give a positive impact also on treatment options. Changing the treatment line. If a drug is very costly, then we may not offer many patient intravitreal injection like CSME. We were giving focal laser treatment to any of the cases, like suppose if we can manage with focal laser, we used to intend to do focal laser in the era when Lucentis was costing 50,000, 60,000. But once that cost of the treatment dropped down, then now the first line treatment of DME is already being anti-VEGF. And focal laser is just used as an adjunct treatment, or if non-responders or otherwise if we see some leaking focal microaneurysm. So it has changed the treatment guideline also just by dropping down the cost of the treatment. Cost saving can make all this treatment available to far and remote areas also. If a drug is very costly, then a small practitioner sitting in a tier 2 or tier 3 city will be hesitant to offer that treatment to patient, because if he is injecting 1 lakh treatment, giving an injection, and if the response is not good, then it will be difficult for him to answer the patient. But if the same treatment is low cost, then he will be more encouraged to offer that treatment to patient, and he can try, and even counseling the patient for repeated injection would be very easy. Otherwise 1 lakh treatment every month, it will be very difficult to offer to any physician or by any ophthalmologist to patient, asking them to take injection every month, and that is very costly. So that way this biosimilar and reducing cost of the treatment has changed the whole ophthalmic practice of this medical retina and anti-VEGF drugs. It has increased the number of healthcare professionals who can provide the medical retina treatment. It has dropped down the cost, and many smaller town colleagues have started using anti-VEGF. Cost effectiveness, definitely it is going to reduce the cost effectiveness and reimbursement. Now majority of the TPA companies are also encouraged. Since the cost is down, they are easy to give approval. Otherwise in initial days they used to reject or give some excuses, or that cost limit it used to hamper. But nowadays TPAs are also supporting the patient, and the treatment is becoming very easy for the patient. So by that way, these biosimilars and reducing cost cost has affected this whole practice, treatment, the outcome, and a number of the patients scattered. And I think these biosimilars have helped as a retina surgeon to all of us in a big way. Thank you so much for all your messages.
Thank you, Dr. Tiwary, for insightful talk.